It's a good question and there is actually a good answer, which is it starts with the song. Like the song itself is everything. Like there's a reason that I did Euclid and not like the summoning, right? The worst thing is when you're trying to shoehorn in as many techniques as possible. And I've done that. And it serves a purpose, and its purpose is YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
Like its purpose is I was a prostitute in Lebanon legally for 3 days.
So again.
Yeah. So when you go to Lebanon, in terms of decision paralysis and attention span and the Netflix effect and all of this, I genuinely don't know. Like, if I was to start again now, I don't know if I would be interested in learning the guitar.
Mike Dawes has been named the best acoustic guitarist in the world on multiple occasions by renowned publications. I was first aware of this individual's work 3 years ago by seeing a cover they did of Van Halen's Jump, and I was pretty much blown away by the techniques that were on display there. And then more recently, enjoyed the gorgeous rendition of Euclid by Sleep Token, a song that is quite dear to my heart. They're renowned for creating complex multi-part instrumentation performed on a single guitar using just their two hands, which is very impressive and fascinating to me. So I'm delighted to have some time to chat to them today about their guitar playing, their arrangements, and inspirations as well. So welcome, Mike. Thank you very much for being here. Delighted to have some time with you today.
Pleasure to be here. Nice to see you again.
Yes, we met very briefly at Radar Festival, which is wonderful. But I was like, I want to leave you to enjoy your festival. But there's so much more I want to chat about. And here we are, which is
awesome,
man.
No,
now, I saw you say in a interview recently that you're not a classically trained guitarist. And I was wondering whether that has helped you be slightly more innovative by approaching the guitar playing from your own point of view and what your hands are doing rather than focusing on, say, classic kind of hand positions, etc. Have you found that that's helped you unlock some things more naturally than you might otherwise have done?
That's a really good question, honestly, and I've had to give this some thought over the years. So if anyone isn't familiar with my weird guitar music, I play in a slightly unusual way, and it's not the only thing it really has in common with classical guitar is the fact it's on an acoustic instrument and it uses fingers. That's kind of it. Technique wise, it's kind of totally different, at least the right hand. So one example is to play, like, say, the percussive stuff, and on the Euclid cover there's some of that where there's like little bass drum sounds and stuff happening in this hand. If I were to use like a traditional classical technique, you just can't get in to those areas, you know? So the entire like right hand position is totally bastardized, and it's totally not that at all. And I feel like if I'd have had classical lessons, it would have been something to like unlearn, you know? There's a lot wrong with the way that I'm playing the guitar. Like, it really is wrong. And it's very much born from being an uneducated Neanderthal for the most part. One thing that people like to point out is I have my pinky sticking out on the soundboard a lot, and a lot of people think, okay, you're not supposed to do that because they might have had a guitar lesson saying you shouldn't do that. That's nonsense. You can do it because I do it, and it's fine. And there's little things you can do with it, and you know, so not classical, but classical adjacent, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, I can see how. I mean, certainly the end result, I think, validates that you can do that and it works and it creates some wonderful things. Is there anything about the kind of hand positions, etc.? Do you find that it's a more classical way is more sustainable long term? Do you find that the positions you put yourself in order to get the kind of percussive bass drums and things is challenging to sustain, or does it kind of work over time?
No, it's fine, man. I mean, one thing I would say to any guitar players watching this and watching you, and obviously I can see you've got some tasty little guitars behind you, so there's probably a lot of guitar players here. Anything's fine in moderation. It's like playing a sport, really, you know. Yeah, and back when I was in my late teens, I actually ended up getting tendonitis because I played too much, and I had to take like 8 months off the guitar and 8 months off like doing anything, really, with my hands. So yeah, like just moderation and listen to your body and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's fine. Anything's fine with moderation, even spirits.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, most things in life in moderation, you're probably right. Yeah. Now, because of your style of playing, which I particularly love, because drums are my main love, and I love the percussive element that you bring to.
Because you were at Middle Farm with our mutual friends.
I was, yes. I spent the day with George Lever, not to play drums. I was there to enjoy and watch.
I saw you playing drums.
I did, yeah. Once everyone had left and I would not intrude on the recording session, I was like, Mike, can I have a go? And he's like, yeah. So that was fun, yes. I dabble these days.
I love Mike.
Yeah, he is a wonderful human being. That was such a wonderful time. Now, I was wondering, though, that percussive element that you now have built in, when you're playing, say, an electric guitar, which I see this one on the wall there, do you find yourself instinctively trying to hit like a kick as you're playing something and going like, I can't use this anymore? Does electric kind of feel limiting in some fashion with what you want to express?
I guess sometimes, man. I mean, I actually, before I could afford an acoustic guitar, I tried to do this stuff on electric guitar. And there's some, I was doing open mic nights when I was like 17 years old on a guitar very similar to that PRS behind you. But it had a little hollow chamber, it had like a little F hole in it. But it wasn't good enough. But I remember I was doing open mic nights and I had to stick like an SM57 like next to the guitar just to try and get something to come across. And it sounded terrible, horrible. But once I saved up enough money and got an acoustic guitar, then the rest is history. And I've just been getting these lovely, lovely guitars and traveling around playing them. I much prefer the acoustic guitar than the electric. I don't know why. Most people seem to like the electric, and obviously we're both metal fans. We saw each other at Radar Festival. But there's just something about the acoustic with that extra layer of expressiveness, using the body and playing with different pickups and experimenting. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, there's an earthiness to acoustic that you cannot simulate.
Well, also, dude, quite honestly, so you exist today, and we both exist today in this online sphere where we have our computers and cameras and technology and all of this, and as much as we use these tools to connect with people, because that's what it's all about, music or any kind of creativeness is about connectivity. I'm an idiot with technology, right? I mean, I've got some stuff around. I have to do what I have to do. Look, I put LEDs on my panel. Woo, fancy.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm a real Neanderthal with technology and even just DAWs like Logic or Pro Tools or anything. I think that's what drew me to the acoustic guitar, because it's just head or heart to head or whatever to fingers to guitar to you, and that's it. There's no, you don't need to plug anything in. It's just a real wooden wire connection, and it doesn't require any of that side of the brain. It's just pure creativity. I'm not blessed with the ability to troubleshoot technical problems. It's just makey wood make noise is fine. That's about as deep as I get with technology.
Yeah, I suppose it reduces the number of potential obstacles between what you have in your mind and what you can express in the instrumentation.
Exactly.
And I guess then you have the necessary evil of having to figure out recording software, plugins, pedals, and things. If there's certain things you want to have, I guess, translate because you want to record, but also if there's reverb effects you want to do, like, all right, figure out how I do that.
I do love all that stuff. But George, for example, he's like the master of the box. Like he's so good at making anything sound amazing. So I just focused all my energy over these past couple of decades just on really learning the instrument that you put your fingers on, and trying my best to, I'm not a total idiot. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I do love to outsource as much of the geeky stuff as possible. Except for guitar pedals. I like guitar pedals because I can touch them. They're tangible things, right? I can deal with the tangible analog stuff. Just
yes.
As George will attest, actually, having known me for many years, I am an absolute idiot when it comes to anything in this computer. Absolute idiot.
But that's fine. That's why you have other people who have strengths that you rely on, and you work together, and then it makes a better thing overall. That's
what it's all about. Connectivity, community, working together. Love it.
Absolutely. Now, in the first video I saw you was that Jump cover by Van Halen. That's the first time I'd seen and noticed.
That was shot in here. I filmed that in here during COVID.
Yeah, it looked kind of familiar.
Yeah.
But it's also the first time I noticed. I didn't notice it until you used it in the song itself. But the scratch plate on the guitar to get a specific kind of a sound when your nails kind of go against it. Is that something that you saw someone else have or use? Like, when did the development of that happen? Is that when you went, actually, I want another sound. How can I make this work?
Yeah, so I've had that on the guitar since 2009. Right. Like a long time. 2008, maybe. So that was invented, and I say invented, it's a piece of wood, bro. Like, who invents a piece of wood? It's a tree.
Crafted.
That was invented by the guy who made, do I have any of his guitars up? just out there, I have a few guitars by a guitar maker called Nick Benjamin, who's a guitar maker in the south of England, like in Lewes near Brighton. And he put that on the guitar. As far as I'm aware, he put that on the guitar of an amazing musician named Eric Roche, who unfortunately died before I got to know his music in the sort of early 2000s. And that was because he was playing this kind of guitar style, but just making holes in the guitar. And it was initially done as a kind of Band-Aid type thing. And it was adopted then by, as far as I'm aware, a few other guitar players playing Nick's guitars by the name of one named Thomas Lieb, and one you may know, Newton Faulkner. Yes. Anyone in the UK will know Newton Faulkner. He's an awesome dude, and he had a couple of #1 albums here in the UK. And so as far as I'm aware, I would be the fourth person to use that. Again, getting a Nick Benjamin guitar, aged 18 or 19, 2008, something like that. And now they're everywhere. It's crazy. Like, now there's a lot of people with acoustic guitars with these things on, but its origins are the south of England. Nick Benjamin, Thomas Lieb, Eric Roche, Newton Faulkner, myself, and then the world after that, I suppose. Yeah. It's fun. It's just like a little untreated piece of wood that you can kind of scratch with your nails to get kind of interesting sounds. Yeah.
For me, it seems quite unique and very effective. But now I think there's increasingly guitarists who are trying to adopt your style. I don't know in what order they've started doing this, but
it's not my style. It's not my style.
I mean the style that you play. Sure.
I've got to. Yeah. I don't in before people in the comments.
I know. Sometimes I do that many videos. I'm like, I can see the comments now.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the likes of like another prominent guitarist who has a sort of complexity is Marsan, who's very talented. Do you in any way connect with other folks that are in that world and go like, I've tried this new technique and kind of showcasing? Or are you kind of just watching each other and getting inspiration from there, or zeroing in on what you're doing just mostly? Yeah,
there's a scene, man. I mean, I back when I started doing this, there were less people doing it. Admittedly, I mean, the person to really put acoustic guitar, instrumental, open-tuned kind of music on the map in a big way would be Andy McKee, around the birth of YouTube, where you had songs like Drifting, and this would be the original YouTube viral videos from back in the day. And there was sort of this whole Canadian and USA school of playing, where you had a lot of Canadian players, people like Don Ross, Antoine Dufour, Eric Mongrain, people like this at the same time as Andy McKee and other players. People like Billy McLaughlin. I'm throwing out a bunch of names here. Then at the same time you had the UK people. So I guess that would be like Eric Roche and Newton Faulkner and ultimately myself. People like John Gomm. And then there's this kind of like Italian European contingent of absolute mental weirdos who are like they're like making the Sistine Chapel over there. But before all of us in this weird world was a guy named Michael Hedges, who passed away in the mid-90s, and he's the guy who basically started the whole thing. He's the guy credited with basically taking the steel string guitar into this new world, really exploring it in a new way, but making just amazing music in the process. So yeah, there's a lot of players out there. There's pockets of players in Scandinavia and just everywhere. Obviously, you've got Tommy Emmanuel from Australia. I like to think we're a community, you know.
That's great.
It's a wonderful thing, you know. It's just like the metal scene, man. It's like your community. It's the same. Just acoustic weirdos with long fingernails.
Yeah, I think actually, casting my mind back, I'm sure I saw some YouTube viral video like decades ago where someone had an acoustic guitar on their lap, kind of with the strings facing up.
That's Eric Mongrain.
Right.
Yeah, from Canada, from Quebec.
Yeah. My mind was completely blown open by that. I was like, I didn't know you could even do that. It's like someone learned the guitar without anyone telling him how to play it.
Well, funnily enough, that's how I started. I started by doing that lap tapping, it's called. And if anyone's interested in learning how to do it, I made a little guitar course. Look, it's right there.
Great.
It's a little guitar. Look how cute that is. But no, the lap tapping thing, everyone discovered that from Eric. And that's how I started playing acoustic guitar. My guitar was broken, and it was laying on the dining room table, being glued. And when you look at a guitar from above like that, and you can do that with any guitar, you start to see it as 6 pianos. It's just 6 chromatic rows, and then you can start to visualize where the chords are, and you can start to just like play it like that. And that turned up right is essentially how I'm kind of seeing the instrument at the moment. It's interesting how a slight change of perspective can just totally change your approach to an instrument.
Yeah. And beyond that, the arrangements that you do in particular are the realization of an approximation of a full band song, for example, played with just 2 hands is quite complex. And one of my patrons was asking about this specifically, Shakotan, shout out to you. But like, what do you have a consistent creative process in taking a song and translating it onto the guitar? Because obviously you can't replicate every sound you get in the original song. But you have to choose moments, surely, that also are physically able to speak out through the limitations of your 10 fingers and palms, for example. Like, how do you have a mapping process of like, this is what I want to do. I think I can find a way through this.
Honestly, yeah, actually. It's a good question and there is actually a good answer, which is it starts with the song. Like, the song itself is everything. Like, there's a reason that I did Euclid and not, like, The Summoning, right? Because some songs will just work within that medium better than others. Like, Euclid is a special song, as I'm sure you know. I remember you telling me at Radar it's like one of your favorite songs.
Yeah.
If not your favorite song.
Yeah, it's
but
certainly
it's not
out there.
Yeah, but it's not like the band's biggest song. And cynically, if one were to chase clicks, I would have tried to do their biggest song, or a song of a band that was even bigger than Sleep Token. I would have done a Justin Bieber song, or something like that. But it really starts with the song, and some songs will lend themselves better to arrangements than others. The melody has to be a mountain range. So the first arrangement I ever did was a song called Somebody That I Used to Know, right? Ba 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 ba. It's a mountain range, right? Da 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 da. You can't do a Linkin Park verse. Ba da 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 da. That does not translate instrumentally, and the chords have to move. There has to be enough interesting harmony to make it work without lyrics, and then there's dynamics and rhythm. So Euclid as a song to choose. There were 2 things in that song that made me be like, I have to do this song, and that is the outro because I could hear it as harmonics, the dun 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 dun. Right, I was like, oh, that's gotta be harmonics, like sent into space with a sick reverb, and the light and shade of the call and response section. Da 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 da, quiet. That will translate so beautifully on an acoustic instrument because it has that dynamic range, and then there are the techniques to facilitate that. So you're looking for those things in the song first of all, and then once you've got that, then I'll look for the key of the song, and then I'll tune the guitar to a tuning that works in that key with a lot of open strings, and so. Euclid, for example, I am in a very bizarre tuning, which is C, G, D, G, A, D, which is weird. I don't know what to tell you. It's strange.
Yeah, and there's a D, A, and a G. That's helpful, but the C and the G is...
Imagine drop D, okay, which a lot of rock guitar players know. Then you're going to take the top strings, B and E, and move those down a tone as well. And then you end up with Dadgad. D-A-D, G-A-D. I know Monuments and a lot of like prog metal bands use Dadgad actually, because you can really just wail on it, let the open strings ring, and if you're in the key of D, it's just easy. It sounds nice. Then I'm taking those bottom 2 strings and taking them down another tone, so you get these kind of Message in a Bottle, by the Police. You get that do-do-do, that kind of 9-chord interval, which has a lot of color to it, as the bottom 3 strings. Okay, so that's kind of what I've created. Then I'm capoing it to the key of the song. So I think it's capo 3, Euclid. And as a result, you get these really, really beautiful, colourful chords that are very, very similar to what the band have composed, So the idea is actually to make it as easy as possible. It might not look like that, but that is really the goal. and once you've got the tuning and the key, then it comes that then you've just got to transcribe the bass, then the melody, use the techniques that you've learned over time to facilitate how to play them together, and then fill out the middle. And then you zoom out and look at it as a producer and think, okay, well, what makes the verse different from the chorus? Okay, well, let's maybe do a different type of percussion for the beat. Let's maybe do a different type of picking technique to play that melody. An example being the outro. Now, suddenly the melody is being hammered in the low register and the harmonics are in the high register instead of the melody being in the high register and the bass being in the low register. So everything's like done in blocks, like section by section, to kind of maintain interest. And all the technical stuff, that's just stuff you absorb as a teenager learning the guitar, and then you forget it completely and just write music. The worst thing is when you're trying to shoehorn in as many techniques as possible. And I've done that. And it serves a purpose, and its purpose is YouTube Shorts. Like its purpose is Gen Z attention span. Like, I mean, I did a track almost leaning into that recently with Bernd and Charles Bertud on bass and guitar, and we did a trio track, and we were just like, let's just go mental and just like go full TikTok, and then like bass slap, and so that's a different kind of approach. But my preferred approach for album recordings is what I've tried to describe there. So yeah, hope that makes sense. I know you're a guitar player, so I'm talking guitar player to guitar player, but hopefully it makes sense to the non-guitar players watching as well.
Yes, I think it does. I mean, and to be clear, I'm a rhythm guitar player. I was like, my bands were pop punk, ska, rock, bits and pieces.
Nice. So, what kind of stuff are you playing?
What kind of stuff?
What kind of songs? Did you do covers?
A mixture. No, we did originals. I think my pop punk band was kind of like I don't know, Boys Like Girls or All Time Low or Green Day, kind of adjacent. Dude, and then ska punk was hard to reference that one because that was kind of like if you think Ailstorm, the sort of comedy.
Ailstorm with an A.
Yeah, yes.
I know those guys really well. In fact, some of them used to live down the street.
Right.
There.
It's basically that, but it was in a ska world. When would that be? 20 years ago now or so?
So like
15, 20 years ago?
Like ska punk pirate party music.
Exactly that. We literally had a song called The Pirate Song. We had a song about ninjas. We didn't take ourselves too seriously, as you might tell. But
I used to be in a metal band called Sorcerer's Spell.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
With leather trousers.
Did you sing songs about dragons and things, or?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Great.
See, we can connect on strange metal. I like that.
Yeah, of course. It's all fun. Like, music's supposed to be fun. I mean, talking back to what you were talking about, there's definitely a place for, and there's an interest and enjoyment of mad technicalities for the sake of that. It could help push techniques forwards, and it can be really fun. But I definitely have more of a interest and connect more with song first. And actually...
It depends what medium you're enjoying the production through, because honestly, nowadays, if you're watching someone play the guitar, for example, it's very appealing to watch them play crazy stuff. It's just quite interesting. But if you're listening as a listener who's just putting on a record in the evening, call me old-fashioned, but I still do that, then it's a little different. Then it's a different thing you're listening to.
Yes.
It's like one of my favorite bands right now is Bill Murray. Right?
Oh, please.
Right.
It's my favorite.
So good. Not overly technical, but like, I listen to that on repeat. I'm not watching the whack-ass music videos of the dude mowing his lawn, but I'm listening to the songs over and over and over again, because they're just awesome, right? Awesome band. Just so cool. But then the crazy guitar stuff, that's like a different kind of presentation, I suppose.
Yeah, they can be enjoyed in different ways. I find this when I'm reviewing albums and kind of critiquing them. It's like, if you're looking at it from a critical point of view, then some albums might lack a little bit of innovation and creativity and unusual structures. It might surprise and delight. But I can appreciate, though, but the consistency of the groove. I know this is an album I will happily loop for fucking months. And that has its own quality.
Exactly. That's what music is. That's music. I must admit, man, and I appreciate you talking about this, but I do find it hard to tread that line. I don't know where that line is in here anymore. Because the media I consume, as I'm sure the media you consume, has changed so much in the past 10 years, in the past 5 years even, in terms of decision paralysis and attention span and the Netflix effect and all of this, I genuinely don't know. Like, if I was to start again now, I don't know if I would be interested in learning the guitar, because everything I'm consuming just seems like a crazy athletic competition, and I find it very hard to not partake in that. So I flip-flop depending on the day. So, and that's why I love playing live and I love going on tour, because I can change it on the day. I can just play different songs, you know, if I'm feeling a little bit more ballad adjacent, you know. Yeah. But it's a hard time. I think people starting music now, if they're interested in the musician aspect of it, I don't envy them, because it's a very, very tough landscape to navigate, I think. You know, it's very, very tough out there. Lots of just crazy stuff at your fingertips at all times. Some of it real, some of it not real, some of it half real. It's crazy. It's the Wild West.
Incredibly daunting, I think, for any kind of beginner to even intermediate musician. Looking at
it never stops.
Like
it's crazy. So the best thing is to try and draw inspiration from whatever it is that you're seeing, and try and really approach it with that lens, with the lens of trying to draw something good from whatever comes across your algorithm. Even if it's a whack JD Vance meme, which I get a lot of. I have to delete those from my phone now, because I'm going to the US next week.
Oh, shit. Right.
Yeah, I heard a guy got kicked out of the country for having a JD Vance meme. And now I've said that on your... God.
I could clip this if you need.
No. It's let the record show. If I get kicked out of America for a JD Vance meme...
Yeah, I'm not aligning to that. I just happen to have it.
Exactly. Yeah, Steve sent it to me.
There we go. Now it's officially law.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in that vein, I think I fucking love live music. I think it is something, because it brings it to life in a whole new way, and I find that technical, amazing stuff, I personally struggle with that. Maybe I'm sure others maybe don't, but if a whole set of a band is highly technical and mad, I don't feel as much of the dynamic sways of storytelling throughout a set list if it's all full on and crazy in that way. And I think the better live shows I enjoy have variety within them, because that's a more, I guess, I don't know, natural human way to process things and to enjoy and connect with music. And so there are amazing, incredible instrumental bands that are so incredible, and they're like, it's like solo after solo, and it's mind-blowing. But after 2 songs, I'm like, totally. And then but there's others that actually I go, there's groove in here, we can sit in for a bit, that I can feel where the song's going. I feel the kind of the waves of it, and I'm much more interested. I don't know whether that's a me thing, or is that something that you also resonate when you're seeing?
That's a great observation, because look, music is basically a representation of the human experience, and no human besides cocaine addicts are going like for like an hour straight, right? Like to be human is to, you know, sprint to the corner shop and then slow pace back home because you're out of breath. You know, that's the human experience. The human experience is to have anger and love and playfulness and wit and humor and whatever, fear, and you got to represent all of that in a show. And as someone who tours around a lot, in fact, I'm probably, by the time this goes out, I'll be in the States. I'm going to be doing a guitar camp with John Petrucci, of all people, and, you know, Tosin Abasi and all these crazy shredders. And I'm doing some shows in Arizona as well, like very beginning of August. Those shows are just solo guitar, but I get to like craft the show to be exactly what you're describing. Like, and maybe some days I'll want to come out of the gate swinging and just like hose them down and play 3 songs that are just like ripping. And some days I want to go out, just sit on a chair and just play like a 7-minute thing and make people think about their grandma. You know, it's like you have that power as an instrumentalist, and I'm totally with you. Like, I love Meshuggah. I'm a big Meshuggah fan, but I will be the first person to admit that I struggle to get through a whole show of Meshuggah. Maybe I'm just not that metal attuned anymore in my old age. But, you know, that intensity, I would love it if they just, you know, threw in a little waltz. Just slowed it down and played a lounge jazz tune halfway through. But that's just personal, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some folks out there being like, no, that's exactly what I want. I want full
throttle.
Absolutely. And
absolutely.
They'll find it soothing in its own way that everything is a wall of sound from start to finish. But,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
Can't Do Anything.
Devin Townsend does a great show. I saw his show at the Wilton in Los Angeles like last month, and it was a beautifully curated set list of songs, like dynamically and through the whole show. You know, obviously they starts kind of esoteric, hits Kingdom, obviously Big P. He'll do the strapping young lad stuff, and but bring it back down to some of the older stuff, some of the Devin Townsend band stuff, and I like that. I just love the diversity in a show. It's very important.
Yeah. Speaking of diversity, the band Periphery has some incredibly diverse music. They're
Oh yeah,
very creative and varied and interesting. And you did a sort of collaboration with them a few months ago to do the
yeah,
acoustic versions of, for example, "It's Only Smiles," which is an absolutely gorgeous song already.
it
But what
is.
I
Yeah,
loved about that and was curious to find out more about your compositional side of that is when there's the vocals there, you let the vocals shine, and you're doing more chords and supporting that. Was that its own challenge? How did you arrange that? And did you do that remotely with them to go, this is what I'm thinking, this is how we can go in and out of the
yeah,
sections?
man. That was really fun. So we released a 2-track acoustic single, and it was on vinyl. It's on the streamers as well, and It's Only Smiles and Scarlet, and it was basically myself, Spencer, and Misha in terms of the actual production. And these were done. I arranged Scarlet as an arrangement on one of my albums from like 2017. I already kind of had that in the bag, although to do it with Spencer, I had to strip back some of the parts, as you're saying, and let the vocals sit. But I went on tour with Periphery in late 2023. We did a US tour where I opened the show, and then it was a Periphery show, but then I would then come back on in their set, and it was a really special tour where they did 2 shows in each city, and it was a totally different set each night. So one night in, say, Chicago, I would come out into their set, and Spencer and I would duet "It's Only Smiles." The second show we would duet "Scarlet." As the tour went on, it got a bit wacky, and we were duetting Backstreet Boys or Britney Spears, or things. Just, we're on the tour bus, I have a guitar, it's pretty quick to knock up, that kind of arrangement. But before we went on the tour, we had rehearsals in Las Vegas. Spencer co-owned a studio there at the time, and because the rehearsals were in an actual recording studio, they had some mics, and they said, "Hey Mike, do you want to just record your parts just in case we do something with them?" And sure. So I think it was so they could just practice with the recordings without me having to sit there and be guitar monkey. So I recorded "It's Only Smiles" and "Scarlet" in this studio in Las Vegas, and each one was one take. And I want to be very clear about that, because then when it came to the mixing process, it was a pain in the ass, because there wasn't really much material to work with, But that ended up, after the tour, we had so much fun doing the songs live, that they came up with the idea of actually mixing it and getting Misha involved and actually releasing them as things. And I didn't really need to record any other guitar, because it already existed on some hard drive in Las Vegas. So it was very, very raw and very much done with that spirit of, almost the opposite spirit of your modern technical metal bro who does 10,000 takes and sits with his pedaless guitar and artisan coffee. It was very much done in the get it down, come back to it later. Yeah, let's mix it and stick it out. And it had that organic spirit. And that, I think, is very different to a lot of the music that I was making at the time. It's very different to a lot of the music that a band like Periphery would make, when it's a sort of big juggernaut of a machine, pun intended, making the kind of thing. So it has a real special place in my heart, that record, and I think the guys did such an amazing job producing it and making it more than just guitar and vocals. Because there's so many things in those mixes. There's like some auxiliary percussion, some tambourine, some piano, some synth, some finger clicks, some all kinds of geeky stuff in that. I mean, you know what Misha's like with his guitar pedals. There's all kinds of crazy stuff in there. So yeah, it was a very, very organic and very, very fun experience to make that record. And I'm just waiting on them to send me one. They still never sent me one. And now they sold out. So,
Oh dear.
so if they ever do a rerun, I want to get one.
Just one.
Just one, guys. Just one.
Yeah, I was also wondering how often that might be the case, where there's a particular take where you're like, I like the magic of that take. There's a little bit of something in here that wasn't intended, but I'll live with that because of the take that we got. Because
It's
I mean,
hard.
there's one thing that I was curious about. It was your version of Fields of Gold. A couple
Mm,
minutes in, there's something that sounds like almost like a bell sound. It's like a string being hit incidentally. That's sort of a high pitched thing. I thought
probably.
my phone was telling me there's a text message or something. I was
Might be a
wondering if there's
harmonic,
moments like that. Yeah, something
maybe.
like that. I think that
Yeah,
stood
yeah.
out.
Well, that record, so that was with Tommy Emmanuel, and that was the other record that was basically a one take record. So
Right.
that's an EP with the greatest guitar player of all time, Tommy Emmanuel, and every single track on that was one take, except for the last track, which was a 1975 cover called "Be My Mistake." That was a song where instead of playing it together, Tommy had never heard the song before. So he just said, "We need an extra song for the EP. Do you have anything?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of got this little waltz," and I tracked it. He listened as I was tracking it, and then he goes, "Oh, okay. Let me just have a bounce of that recording onto my phone, and I'll go get us some coffee." So he bounced just the recording that was just made. He goes and gets a coffee while I'm in the studio with the engineer, and he comes back 15 minutes later with the coffee. Goes, "Okay, I think I've got it." And then he sits down, picks up the guitar, doesn't practice it, just picks up the guitar, they hit record, and that's what's on the record. And that is a testament to like Tommy Emmanuel being honestly the greatest musician I've ever encountered. Like leagues above. He's just a one of a kind, and that record was very, very raw in that same kind of way. Everything else I do, like my new album, which is called Galactic Acid, like solo guitar stuff, and the Euclid cover, which will hopefully be on whatever record comes next. That's approached with a lot more nuance and a lot more perfectionism. That's so I'm dancing between these two worlds of go on, give it a go, or nope, I need to do 30,000 million takes to get it right. Drifting in between this. So depending on the day, I'll be somewhere in that spectrum.
But I think that's great because then you're unlikely to get bored because I get both have their place and have their challenge and their reward to it. Like the cover of "Smells Like Teen Spirit," it sounded to me like it
That's
was a
from
one
that. Yeah,
take.
it is. Yeah,
He's kind of feeling it and he's sort of singing along. Hello, I'm like, you know what?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
something
You
kind
can
of
hear him in it,
organic
just
about
vibing.
that. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, so someone on my Patreon at Cathania was asking about playing with Tommy Emmanuel. Was there a favorite song that you had that you did together in particular?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I really like actually the "Be My Mistake" version. But the thing is, we play live together, so I'm going to be going out opening for Tommy. I do these I'm blessed to have a somewhat of a slightly extended opening set, and then get brought back on at the end of the show, and we do 2 or 3 tunes together to close the show. In November, we're going to be in Norway, Latvia, Estonia, Czech Republic, and Hungary. If anyone is there, and the best thing with Tommy is we do "Slow Dancing in a Burning Room" by John Mayer together. But we end with this kind of weird Jacob Collier kind of audience participation sing-along thing. And I'm kind of instructing the audience to sing these different notes while Tommy's kind of... But then Tommy, being Tommy, he just will just go off and just do something profoundly cool. And I have to kind of listen to what he's doing and instruct the audience. So it's this whole like reel on the... And it's always, if we do it, it's usually the last song of the night. And that's when the pressure of like, okay, don't fuck this up, Mike. Like, listen to what he's doing. Try and, And we did this in Italy a few times, and it ends with the audience singing, and we just end up like sitting on the stage, and then we just ended up like getting in the fetal position and just like falling asleep. You never know what's going to happen at a Tommy show. So yeah, I mean, every day is different with him, and sometimes when we do Teen Spirit live and he's up for giving it the beans, then we play it real fast, and it's just so fun. I'm breaking nails constantly when I play with Tommy. Because he's using a pick, he's just going for it with a guitar pick, and I'm trying to keep up with these gnarly little fingernails, and they fly off like shrapnel, shredded wheat.
I mean, although it's hard to be sustainable if you're going to crack nails and stuff, but like that's the beauty of live is things are in the moment, they happen once and never again, and they can be completely unique.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously moments of the show that are rehearsed, but with
Right.
Tommy, for example, I've never heard him play the same set list. That's why you really got to go see him live. It's never the same. And honestly, the more we get into this weird post, AI, post tech, post purpose world, I'm really hoping that as a musician that live music is something that continues to thrive, because it's so important. Hopefully people who aren't used to going to live shows will come and check them out, because they really are just the most wonderful thing to experience.
Totally agree.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
Radar
think
was great. We were both there. That was a good time.
It's always great. I mean, even seeing bands that I'm like, this isn't quite my thing. It's interesting. It's new. It's an experience. And I think in the post AI world that we're heading into, I think there's going to be more value placed on things that are human, like generated, that you cannot recreate in its own way. And we'll connect to that in a new way, I think.
I hope so. Were you at Download?
Yes.
We were at Download. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's the best download I've ever been to. I think the lineup was fantastic. Such a great variety of bands. Also, lovely weather. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Who did you enjoy? I'm interviewing you now.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have a whole video on it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Check out the video in the description.
You're grand. I obviously enjoyed the headliners. I enjoyed Green Day. I'm an old school fan of Green Day. I enjoyed watching people enjoy Green Day, because I knew metalheads would just be amazed by how slick and pro their performance is. Sleep Token, it was special to see them on that huge stage and deliver a good show from start to finish. Korn, I fucking love. Cool to see them as a final band. Novelists are a band I love. I loved them. The sound for them was a bit tricky. At Radar Festival, I thought it was excellent.
Radar was great.
North Lane were fucking amazing. House of Protection, unfucking believable. Another great band live in particular. They're special.
I've seen footage. I've never seen them. I was only at Download for the one day, just the Saturday. It just came up.
Okay.
But I've seen the footage of them live. That's wild. Man, dude,
Saturday.
like
Polaris was Saturday. Did you catch them at all? Or?
I didn't get in until like mid-afternoon. There was a situation with tickets that we had to resolve, but no, and that was funny. And I remember I missed Poppy, and I was just hanging out, and I saw my buddy Jacob, who's the bass player in Intervals, and I was like, "What are you doing here? Like, Intervals aren't playing." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I was just up there wearing a balaclava playing for Poppy." It's like, what the so everyone's wearing goddamn masks now, like it's like I keep running into people. That was pretty funny. In fact, I've just been recording some stuff with Jacob and another musician who I won't name, but whatever we end up making will come out in November, I think.
Cool.
That's really fun. Yeah, fun to collaborate with these heavy metal people. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think this is... I mean, naively from the outside, because I haven't been as plugged into the metal scene until the last few years with my channel, but I get the impression that there's a lot more support and camaraderie and collaboration between people and less competition. Like there isn't enough ticket sales to go around, so we must be better than the other bands. I think there's a little bit more networking connectivity within that scene. Have you noticed that?
What, within metal or like technical musician nerds?
Metal and I guess progressive rock and technical acoustic stuff as well.
Honestly, I've never encountered any sense of competition in any of the scenes that I've kind of operated in over the years. I mean, I grew up as a metal fan. My first download was Download 2003 when I was 13, like the first one. So I grew up as an Iron Maiden guy. I mean, like I'm a metalhead at heart. And I growing up going to metal shows, it was always something that impressed the people on the outside, how friendly everyone was just in the metal community. Because you look at all these big, like, hairy dudes with intimidating t-shirts with skulls on them, and they're just the nicest people ever. Contrary to that, you go get dragged along to like a club or something, and there'd be like a stabbing. It's something that I'll always value, is the camaraderie with anyone who's into metal. I don't know what it is about metal. I don't know the scientific reason as to why that is. And then when you add in being a nerd, like the music nerd prog stuff, that's an extra level of niceness, because everyone just wants to show you their licks because they're proud of it. Oh, look, I just spent 20 hours learning this little thing. Isn't that fun? And then you find the one like-minded guy who's like, yeah, you're not a massive dork. I appreciate that. And I was actually having a conversation with someone yesterday about okay, so why don't musicians who are maybe I'm wrong, but I'm speaking for myself here. Why aren't musicians or shredders or whatever always the partying and cheating on their partners and stuff? It's like, well, they're all really nice people because they're the kind of person that cannot operate under the influence of anything other than total focus and total control of themselves. Yeah. Like, you can't be up there. You can't be like on cocaine and alcohol playing Dream Theater. I mean, you just can't, right? I mean, maybe you
but
think
the
you
audience
could.
will not appreciate it because it will not be representative of the music that they expect.
Exactly. So I think it attracts a certain personality type, which is someone who's just has a single goal and is very much in control of themselves, and as a result, just everyone's on the same wavelength socially. I think it's just a wonderful thing.
And to throw into that,
there's just a crossover with the acoustic stuff. It's the same personality type. There's no reason why I should be friends with the Periphery guys. Like, we play totally different types of music, but we have the same personality type. Because it requires focus.
I think, to throw in as well, patience. In order to learn something and hone it, especially something complex, it takes time and discipline. You need to have a lot of patience, which probably helps you be patient in other areas of your life, potentially.
Yeah, patience and hyper focus, isn't it? That's what it's called, where just nothing else matters. You just get locked in and get the tunnel vision. And, it's the same with anyone doing a creative thing. I mean, you're in the same situation. I bet, you look up and it's suddenly dark outside and you wonder where the time went because you've just been having such a blast.
Yes, that's good fun. And also another aspect I think is probably the niche or outsider sort of thing to it as well. Like, metal music is still niche; it's growing in popularity, which is great. But perhaps
it is.
People will then, who are fans of it, know what it's like to have people being like, "Oh, you're weird and different." So then I think as a response, they're generally a bit more welcoming. Like, "Oh, you like my music too? Come on in."
Yeah.
The first time I went to Download Festival, it was in 2008, I think. I'd never been before, and I was kind of daunted. It's like the heaviest festival I'd been to. And I walked away being like, that was the friendliest place in the world. What?
Yeah. It's amazing, honestly. Like, everyone's just so nice. And it's funny you say metal's becoming more mainstream. I genuinely believe that. A friend of mine is I don't know if he still is, but he did MD, I think it was Megan Thee Stallion, or a giant artist of that kind of world. And it was basically a metal show. Like I mean, it was basically gent riffs, and there was a whole thing when Doja Cat did a Pliny rip-off as part of her MTV performance during the pandemic. It was basically just a Pliny track, but with Doja Cat, super mainstream. I think, and a lot of rap artists as well. I think there was Stormzy at Reading Festival, who opened the whole show with just Rabir Massad ripping metal with full pyro. That was how the Stormzy set opened. It's just, I don't know what's going on, but it's great. It's awesome. More of it, please.
The real lightning moment as well was having Knocked Loose on Jimmy Kimmel. That song is just hard fucking core.
Dude, Spirit Box. Did you see that one recently?
They didn't do it. They played Soft Spine. I was like, that's
exactly.
It's got no vocal melody at all.
Yeah. It has no place on mainstream TV, except now it does, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yep. They just calmly went, it does, and here's why, and there you go. It's good, isn't it?
And the world went, so good. So good.
Yeah. No, it's fucking...
Comments disabled from the evangelical mothers of Middle America. No offense to evangelical
mothers. My poor
mothers,
child watched this and is now... No, we're all fine. I was wondering what one of the things you said when we met at Radar is like, we're basically just all kind of music nerds that occasionally like to throw down. What is your? I mean, I say throw down. I don't think I've ever been in a mosh pit because I'd snap like a twig. I'm an absolute wuss. Do you throw down? Do you go into mosh pits and let yourself go in that way or not?
I used to when I was younger, but since probably not since I was.
You got to protect
20.
these. Like, I can't have my fingernails.
Oh no, the talons. Yeah. No, it's for other people's safety.
But it's fair.
No, I remember. I used to. Have you heard of Municipal Waste, the band?
Yes, I'm aware of their work.
So
it's not
I remember
quite my
seeing,
thing, but I know them.
Well, I mean, I guess the modern equivalent of that kind of crowd interaction would be maybe Turnstile, where you spend more time on stage than off the stage, right, as an audience member. So I was into that when I was younger. Crowd surfers on top of crowd surfers, and that kind of stuff. But I remember I got I went to see Killswitch Engage at Brixton Academy on the Daylight Dies tour. So I can't remember what year that would have been, like 2009, something like that, maybe 2007, or something around that time. And they had strobes. I can't remember what song it was, maybe When Darkness Falls or something like that. And I was in the pit, and I got kicked in the balls. And it hurt so much that I've never been in a pit since. So, no, I do not throw down because somebody kicked me in the balls.
Yeah, that would cure you of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no more interest in that. Plus, I'm just old, fragile, and weak. I like to be comfortable, Steve.
Yeah,
I'll sit at the back with a beer and nod along, and I remember judging those guys when I was younger. Bunch of losers at the back, get to the front. No, I'm definitely happy sitting at the back.
I'm
now.
here to enjoy the music. How do I enjoy
Is it
the
too
music
much?
to the fullest?
Yeah. Is it too much to ask for a seat?
I know, please. Well, there's a bit of a campaign going on. Like, can we please normalize seats, even in the stalls? Just let's give us seats, and can we have the gig end at like 10 p.m. so we can all go home and get a good night's sleep?
Yeah, the babysitter,
Right,
the parking.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but the price of just doing anything now is just insane.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to get back surgery as well. I mean, download was honestly the most I've stood up in a very long time. And about halfway through Slate Token, I was just like, oh, fuck.
I gotta really want to see the rest of this set.
Yeah. It was great. I enjoyed it.
That was very nice indeed.
Especially half the kabuki drop kind of just like fucking...
Oh, yeah.
off
See,
at the
I
beginning.
thought that was intentional. I was like, maybe this is the eclipse in me, because there's an eclipse, like it's partially covered, but no, I don't think it was intentional.
That's very deep. Maybe.
Yes, but
anything is lore if you want it to be.
Yes.
Let's
It is
call it
built into
intentional.
fact.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you harbor any interest in getting on stage with an electric guitar and shredding away in a band, or is that something that like just doesn't give you the same buzz that the acoustic world does in this era?
I would love to get on stage and play electric guitar. I would love to be in a metal band. I would love to do all that stuff. I would love to do one festival season, get the big crowd Facebook cover photos, and then go back to my comfortable acoustic concerts where everyone sits down. No, I very much... I grew up playing in metal bands and stuff. It's just... I don't know why I just went into this acoustic world, but the closest thing would be that Periphery tour, probably. Because I opened the shows and got to command walls of death. I made it a wall of love, and the idea was that I played like a John Mayer song, and everyone just walked towards each other and hugged.
That's awesome.
And then there was the romantic circle pit as well, where everyone skips and hold hands, kind of around in a circle. So that was the closest I've got to true metal. But if there's any metal bands who need an electric guitar player or even a bass player, I'll definitely do it. That sounds like a lot of fun.
A fun festival tour.
Yeah, exactly. Every year I do get a bit jealous of my friends doing festival season, but then they're always just complaining that they're never sleeping for the whole summer because it's just 4 a.m. lobby call, take 3 flights to get to some Bavarian village and play in front of 20,000 Germans, then miss your flight back, and that's the reality of summer festival touring. But it does sound fun to do just once. So yeah.
Yeah, there's no perfect balance of everything.
The grass is always greener. The grass is always greener.
But perhaps to wrap up here, thus far, what has been 1 or 2 moments for you that have been on the more glorious side of things where you go like, I can't fucking believe I got to do this? There are a couple of things in your career you can go like, I actually can't believe this has happened. This is beyond joy.
Well, dude, honestly, like, I have a session gig with the Moody Blues frontmans. The Moody Blues, many of your viewers / listeners will not know because they are too young, but the Moody Blues are of that kind of Beatles era. It's like everyone's mum and dad's favourite band. And I work for the singer / songwriter, a man named Justin Hayward, and he's basically one of the greatest songwriters of all time. That on one hand, plus being mentored by the greatest guitar player of all time, Tommy Emmanuel, that blows my mind. That's like, I can't believe the dice roll that came up to be able to go out and learn from and be around these 2 individuals. It's insane. And the opportunities that affords. I remember a few years ago, I did a gig with Justin. It was in Athens with a symphony orchestra in front of, it was like 5,000 people in the actual Odeon of Herodes Atticus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, where the Acropolis is. It's like, if you think of the Acropolis in Athens, there's the amphitheatre, the ancient, it's one of the oldest amphitheatres in the world. I actually played there with an orchestra on a full moon, and you're looking up at the like temple. That like stuff like that is just like, what? And then I will say that something that the acoustic guitar world affords, which the band world doesn't so much, is that you can get gigs in unusual places that don't require a lot of infrastructure, because it's just you and a guitar and a suitcase and maybe a Pelican. So I've got to go out to remote Alaskan islands.
What's a Pelican?
Oh,
is that
I'm sorry. A pelican. A pelican is a pelican. Is a
pelican comes with me everywhere.
Of course. Is that not normal? Joey, say hi. No, a pelican is like just a very strong road case. You'll recognize them. Photographers use them a lot. It just has Pelican written on it. Now I've said it, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll see them around.
I appreciate it.
It's just a glorified, an armored suitcase, right? But so I've been out to remote Alaskan islands under the northern lights, and I got to play with a Chinese fan on the Great Wall of China, playing one of my tunes on the Great Wall of China with him. So just weird stuff like that, like going to Lebanon and going to, just random places that you shouldn't have any business doing a gig, It's a great way to see the world. And there's a lot of shows like that coming up. I mean, next year I'm looking at going back to New Zealand again, which is fun. Just places that are a very long way away. And yeah, a lot of things. I was a prostitute in Lebanon legally for 3 days.
So again?
Yeah. So when you go to Lebanon, if they don't really have, or it might be different now. This was a long time ago, but there wasn't a musician's visa. You get an artist visa.
But they would give you a prostitution.
Well, it's the I don't want to get in trouble with anyone here, but the way it was explained to me is that at the time there was a particular piece of paperwork that foreign workers would have, and then there was a way they could use that to maybe skirt around the laws involving certain activities and promiscuities. And I had that visa. Right. So the interview at the Beirut embassy was an interesting collection of people, and I did not fit in there at all. And everyone knew it, and everyone was like, who is this guy? It was bizarre. So yeah. Honestly, man, anyone who gets into music or creativity in any way, when you make something and someone out there anywhere in the world through this wonderful thing called the internet can hear it, watch it, whatever, respond to it, you never know where that connection will lead you in the future, Like one of my oldest fans/friends who enjoyed my music, I didn't know this at the time, I didn't know this for many years, but he turns out he's the CEO of a very big, well-known company, and he invited me to be essentially the fly on the wall of... you hear these stories on the internet of, like, cloaked people in the woods, and they were like, oh yeah, they're all, like, sacrificing children, and it's the Illuminati, and all this kind of stuff. Like, I got to be in, like, that. It's not that, by the way, there's no sacrificing children, but there'll be people writing online thinking that it was that kind of those kind of people. Sure. Like as in, you turn on the news, that guy's there. You know what I mean? Right. Stuff like that just through music. Which is just bizarre. Yeah. And it's just a wonderful way to see the world and experience things. And I applaud your community for being along for that kind of ride. And who knows where you're going to go next, Steve? Maybe you're going to join the Illuminati in the woods.
I doubt that's about, but yeah, I mean, already just been doing this for 4 years. I've ended up having insane experiences that are...
I've been witnessing your travels and it's really amazing to see that. I discovered you through, I guess, sleep token related algorithm, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's this like community of, I presume, your friends, because I see you pop up on each other's channels and things, and it is so freaking cool to see that coming together with a shared love of a band or a music genre or whatever can create these kind of transatlantic global kind of quests. It's just wonderful. Yeah. Before YouTube, that couldn't happen. It was much harder to happen,
It'd be very difficult, certainly.
Very difficult and expensive, yeah.
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 No, it's a wonderful thing. It's like, and it's, I think the reason that works on my end with the folks that I collaborate with, and why it works for you and what you're doing in music, it is that's the stuff you love authentically. That's the journey, that's the adventure, and that will take you into amazing things. So if you have any inclination to pick up a guitar and learn some stuff, follow that genuinely.
Absolutely.
You never know where it might take you.
And do it because you love to do it as well. Like don't you know, music is a special gift. And I did a guitar clinic a while ago, Steve, and I asked why people wanted to learn the guitar in the room, and about 70% of them said so that they could do gear reviews on YouTube. Like, that was the reason to start playing music, not to create something magical or say something or anything like that. So we are at a strange time where the results of learning a musical instrument, maybe dial back from that and just get it in your hands and see the feeling you get when you get the two hands to work together and you wiggle the string and you get vibrato, and how cool that feels for the first time, you know. Yeah. And be innocent about it, and be childlike, be Jacob Collier-like. Almost, you know.
Yeah. No, it could be quite to that level.
No,
yes.
no.
I hear you.
Just be Jacob Collier.
Just do that.
Just
but
do
also,
that.
It's very possible that anyone that starts going like, because though then I can do gear reviews, whatever it is, then discovers like, actually, this is really satisfying, and they find
and
the love.
that's not to knock, dude. I've done gear
no.
reviews, and not to knock that, but it's I'm saying to your point, I'm just trying to express how music has helped me so much over the years, and I just wish everyone could experience that journey as well.
Chase what speaks to you. That's
it,
usually
absolutely.
That's where the adventure lies. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Mike, so much for this time. I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat. I could chat for hours more, but we have
Dude,
lives
man.
we need to get to as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna go get a Prime Minister in Bristol here.
Lovely. Enjoy that. I'll be sure to add some links in the description to your socials so people can keep up to date with your gigs coming up as well. Sounds like you're going to have a very busy year or so we'll make sure to send them that way. Thank you again. Have a lovely evening yourself. And
appreciate it, man. Take care of yourself. See you soon.
What a delight that was to chat to Mike. What a considerate, thoughtful, and lovely human being he is indeed. Check out the links in the description to keep up to date with his social media bits and pieces. You may have noticed a couple of questions in that came from Patreon folks. So if you want to be able to shape the conversations I have with artists in interviews in future, make sure you join my Patreon. And that's where I let people know in advance who I'm interviewing and when, and you can submit some questions that I can hopefully weave in to the conversation. Do make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you want more interviews like this as well. This is something I try and do once a week if I can. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully I'll see you in another one of these videos very soon.